La 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 la. Do you want a bag? Please just go away. Please just go away. Hey, it's about the videos. Are you gonna upload any new videos today? Oh God. Just forget about him. Forget about him. Hey, AIDS. Yes, 8. Come on. What? You wanna make a new video, or are you ever gonna make a video? Cause it's about to be Halloween. Gotta get that Spooktober, you know? You wanna make that? You wanna make a Halloween video? Okay. I'll do it. Wait, you are? Yes, I'll do it. Okay, bye. Gosh. Wait. Can I be in it? I really want to be in it. Can I? Yes, you can be in the video. Just leave. I'm trying to do something here. Yes. God. What am I gonna do the video on? Oh, hey guys, I didn't know you guys were gonna be here today. Well, anyways, before we get into the actual mythical creatures, let's talk about the unwritten history of the Philippines. Long ago, during the time of Atlantis, before it was submerged into the sea, there was another great civilization known as Lemuria. This continent allegedly had 7 rivers, 7 mountains, and 7 subcontinents. And what did this thing make up of? Well, it was usually made up of usually Hawaii, Philippines, and other countries, usually between Asia, Australia, and America. The Lemurians that lived on Lemuria had a lot of knowledge, so they knew that the great tide would come when the world would shift and break. So, what did the Lemurians do on this time of day? They flew up into space, and some, they went underground. The Great Flood happened. You know, the one in the Bible. And then they emerged holding all the knowledge of the earth. Now, years later, many years later, all these islands split up. Lemuria is basically broken up, right? So there's Hawaii near America, then there's the Philippines near, Asia. And basically, there is a theory that the Philippines is basically the last remnants of Lemuria. That's right, folks. That's right. Everything there is so mythical, and why the Filipino stuff and culture are so connected to the mythical, and why hell when the Spaniards took over our country, the Filipinos were able to accept Catholicism because they already also used all the weird mythical stuff happened because of the Lemurians passing down their knowledge. To start things off, we're going to talk about the Duende. Now, the Duende are also known as goblins or elves or dwarves in Western culture. They are usually small childlike creatures who dwell in houses, miniaturized houses, or those anthills that you see in fields and stuff? Well, that's where they live. They live anywhere and everywhere. They could bring good or bad fortune to you depending on how you act around their house and whatever you do to their house. So if you mess their houses up, they're gonna put a bad omen on you or a curse. They'll give you ill fate, basically. What the Filipinos would usually say, whenever they're near one, to pay respects, is say, tabe tabe po. So then, they could respect the presence of the duendes, because they are real, okay? Everything else may be fake, but duendes are real, for a fact. Basically, they will mess up your life if you abuse them. Unless you give them, offerings, food, or, make a little branch thing. Okay, now next one. You may or may not have heard this, even from anywhere, from movies to stories or whatever. Now this one is, they call it the White Lady. This one's really scary because this is a wandering spirit of a woman who died. Why? Because she could have been a victim of rape, kidnap, hold up, or other stuff that she just done. Many horrible things had happened to her. And now she wants justice for what happened to her. So now, every night, or some nights, on a road in Philippines near Quezon City, there's sometimes there would be a lady wearing a white dress that appears. Now usually you should always pick her up and then ask her where she wants to be dropped off, or else she will come into the back, she will appear in the back of your car, and with red eyes she'll kill you. Well, she may or may not kill you. She probably will, which she has been linked to some car accidents or other stuff. Very scary. Just watch out. You know, check your rear view mirrors or like your side mirrors, and then, you know, if you see like a white lady there, just pick her up, okay? Or else you dead. Another mythical creature are the capre. These giant, big, dark, and filthy giants just usually love to hang out by really large trees. They're rather peaceful, you know. They love to have a little cigar. They're quite the posh man. You can tell, smoking cigars, you know, just little puff. I am so sorry, that is not how they do stuff. But yeah, you know, they're usually atop like really large trees, these capre, smoking their cigar. They're peaceful, you know, they won't harm anyone like the white lady. They're a bit like the duendes, except the thing about the capre is they love to mess around with little kids at night, you know. They're like, boo. I mean, no. Not like boo, but you know, they just love to like boo. Like after like when it's night and kids are still hanging around, they're like boo! Why are you still here? Bah, 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 bah. They just love scaring children, or like foreigners or vacationers. That's always fun. You're just casually walking around, looking in the night, strolling with your partner at hand, and then you just rest by a giant tree, and then suddenly you hear something above. You look, not there. You look back, and a giant creature. No, it's just you just see like a ton of cigars around the tree. They're like, oh, hey capre. I know I'm butchering these names, I'm so sorry. Now this one may shock some of you Westerners, because mermaids and mermen are really scary creatures to Filipino children. If you're wondering, they're called sirena or siokoi, which is mermaid and mermaid respectively in English, like Ariel from Little Mermaid. But you know, just imagine a beautiful woman top here with a fishtail for her legs, like flap flap. And you know, they're like sirens. No, not sirens. Forget that. Scratch that. No, yes. They have like such amazing voices apparently. And you know, it's like the old fashioned before Disney made mermaids into like beautiful creatures that love everything. They would usually just drown these sailors down to death and eat them. So to those like Filipino children who like told these stories about mermaids and mermen, they must have been pretty scared of the Little Mermaid, huh? You know, they think that would be a horror movie. That must have been very sad of their childhood. Okay, next one is the tik-tik. Yes, you heard that right, the tik-tik. These are usually birds for their master, or an alter ego for the aswang, which I will get onto later on in the video. Now these tik-tik, they're like, I'd say they're like bats to be honest, since they like emit a unique and loud chirp. Tick 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 tick. Tick 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 tick. Tick 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 tick. Tick 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 tick. Usually that weird tick 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 noise serves as a warning to the victims. Now, when it is when you can hear that tick 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 right into your ear, like it's just really like nearby. But when you hear that tick 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 really loud, that's like a really big warning sign that you have to run. Because run while you still can. Maybe the aswang is still actually very far away. You have to run for your life, because as the cries get fainter, oh my god, that's when you know the aswang's nearby. Creepy, ain't it? Just imagine you're out in the woods and then you hear the tick 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 really loud. You're like, what's that? And then you suddenly hear it suddenly like tick 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 tick. And you know. You look, you turn behind you, there's nothing there. You turn back, but then it's too late, because you're dead. Another mythical creature is the manananggal, which is another form of aswang. Now these monsters, you would not find them in daylight. Well, I mean, you can, but you just won't know. That's because when it comes at night, their body would split in half, like their lower torso are just left behind, whilst their upper torso are just sprouts out wings and just develops a really long tongue, so they fly away without legs. They prey on pregnant women. So what these manananggal do is that they'll find a pregnant woman, they'll fly over on top of the roof, they'll get their really long tongue out, and then they're like, cause it's so sharp that they'll just pierce the woman's navel, then they suck the fetus. But you may be wondering, how do you overcome the manananggal? What do you do? Well, because they're like vampires, you just find their lower body half, their legs, you pour some garlic and salt, so then the manananggal could like go together and become human again. And whenever the two things are separated, they will just die because they hate the sun. If they're separated, if the bodies are separated, they just die like vampires. They're much more creepier than vampires, I say. So, sucking the blood. What do? They get their really long tongue out and then they just suck the baby fetus out. That's always fun. Do you love horses? Yes? Do you love man? Yes. Well, when you combine these two creatures together, you might get the tikbalang. Now, what is a tikbalang, you may ask? It's a humanoid creature that has the head of a horse, the body of a human, which has a really ripped six-pack. They're always male. They have to always be male or else they just can't reproduce. And they'll have the hooves of a horse, because why not? Now, what they like to do is to rape women. Why they do this? It's so then they could give birth for more tikbalang. Yes, because that's what we need, more tikbalangs. Why? Because they usually like to trick travelers to getting lost into mountains and like forest areas. Just seeing like a horse head. You see, you have your girlfriend there, or fiance, or wife, and then you're like both lost. You suddenly see a horse, but no, it's not a horse. It's a tikbalang. And then he pushes you to the ground. He takes your woman, impregnates her, and now you're stuck with a wife, girlfriend, fiance, who has a baby tikbalang growing inside her stomach. But if you pluck 3 of their hairs from its mane, it could become your slave forever. Just always have those. So if you're ever lucky to see a tikbalang, try, well, don't try, but if you can, somehow get 3 hairs from its mane, and then it'll be your slave forever. I mean, most of you are probably not Catholic, but you should know about hell and how they're like 9 circles of hell. And the first circle is limbo. Well, it relates to this because the tianak or impacto or dead babies were usually babies who died without receiving a baptism rites. They probably died prematurely without being baptized, or like they died from abortion, all that horrible stuff. And what these tianak do, or sometimes these tianak could be an offspring of a woman and a demon, because why not? What these tianak would do is that they would seek revenge on its mother. That's always fun. What do? They're just in the forest. You'll be casually hiking along, and then you hear the cries of a baby. You go up to it. It looks like a perfectly normal child, until once you're about to like grab it, they will turn back into their monstrous form and eat you. Yeah, think about that next time you see a baby abandoned in the forest. Okay. Everyone should know what these are, because they are the Filipino versions of witches, and they are known as the mangkukulam. Yes, the mangkukulam. Now, what the mangkukulam is, they're usually women, but they could be men who has supernatural powers, you know, witches. Woo, Harry Potter. Of course, the mangkukulam is like the evil version, and they usually just cast some evil spells onto their victims. Like the 3 witches in Macbeth, except these ones actually kill them. the witches in Macbeth, they just like make trick, like just mess up like a card tower and all goes down. So yeah, these Mankukulam uses dark magic. They're usually dressed in black dresses and wear too much dark. You know, they have unkept hair. Hell, it sounds like Bellatrix from Harry Potter. Another type of aswang, depending on the region, is the Sigbin. Yeah, Sigbin. They usually resemble a reptilian crow or a goat, because goats are evil. Yes, we all know goats are evil. And the front legs are like usually shorter, while the hind legs are like really giant. What's his best way to walk around? It's walking backwards like a crab. Backwards crab walking. And its head would be like drooping down like, hey guys, I'm backwards crab walking. Like, you usually know because it smells pretty foul. And guess what? It can jump very high distances. It's very scary, so eat your children because they like to stalk children after sundown, and they eat everything but their hearts. But why don't they eat the hearts? Because they just love to hoard their hearts and make amulets out of them. You know, very pretty bracelet amulets. You'd be like, oh my gosh, girlfriend, what is that ring? Oh, I got it from a human child. Yeah, I know, it's fabulous, ain't it? Now the final one, which you have heard me mention, are the aswang. You know, they're like the vampires of Philippines or the ghouls of the Philippines. They're the most famous Filipino creatures. Like, they have been featured in an episode of Grimm, but basically, the aswangs are like a vampire witch thing and are like humanoid creatures. Usually like black skin or like really dark, and usually by day they're just regular townspeople. They would like walk around just like you and me, and then by night they would just turn into cannibals. They usually love to eat human flesh. More specifically, they do like babies. Yes, lots of baby talk. But yeah, no, they eat anything related to human. They usually like to transform into like a black boar or a huge dog. And I don't know why, but sometimes they're mostly female. How do you get rid of an aswang? Well, you could use garlic, salt, prayers, holy objects, and you know, if everything fails, just chop its head off. That's like the ways you can repel and kill the aswang, because they're like vampires.
2, 4, 6, 8. You've been staying up too late.